Certainly, we live in a unique and special world. You know, a world full of life, of all species, sizes, shapes, and colors. We have many birds in the sky, animals on and below the ground, and creatures in the depths of the ocean that surprise us with their unique and exotic ways of surviving. But although it's fair to say we know many of the animals that roam our world, there are many that are quite rare to see and encounter. And when we discover them, we try to take photos and videos to prove they really exist in real life. With all this in mind, here are the 17 rarest animals captured on video. But before we begin, subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Now, let's get started. Number 17, Vaquita. So far, I've talked about terrestrial creatures that are in danger, but in fact, there are many aquatic creatures that are also in trouble. And you could argue that no creature is as threatened as the vaquita. But what is a vaquita? You've probably never heard of it. Well, it's the smallest cetacean in the world. It's also the rarest marine animal in the world. Would you like to take a guess at how many are left as of 2023? Go ahead, tell me. The answer, according to the World Wildlife Fund, WWF, is that only 10 vaquita individuals remain in the entire world. This isn't just near extinction levels, it's a level where a single bad day could wipe out the entire population. Another terrible aspect of this story is that the species was only discovered in 1958, which in scientific terms is relatively recent, meaning that between then and now, the population has drastically declined and almost disappeared. But how did this happen? You can probably guess the answer: illegal hunting. Specifically, vaquitas are known to live near Mexico in the Gulf of California, and due to their size, they are repeatedly caught in fishing nets and killed. They are also creatures that aren't afraid to approach the coast of places like Mexico and California, which puts them at even more risk of being hunted, as well as being involved in accidents. They are so rare that the WWF only managed to get an official photo of them in the wild in 2003, and even then it was just a blurry headshot. Jokes aside, the creature is on the brink of annihilation, and humanity only has itself to blame for the steep decline in its population. Given how low the population count is, it would take a miracle or a concentrated effort to help them recover. Number 16, Okapi. Now we return to Africa for the story of a creature that was a myth for a time until it was definitively proven to exist, the Okapi. A look at the Okapi shows how special it is and why you don't see it in the wild as much as you might think. If someone looked like this in the wild all the time, they would probably attract a lot of attention. Interestingly, this animal seems aware of its unique appearance and is thus an African mammal that doesn't mind staying out of sight for long periods. The first observation outside its native population in Africa didn't happen until the late 1800s, and even then it wasn't recognized until 1901. If you're wondering what it is and isn't, it is technically a member of the giraffe family, not a zebra, although I can understand the confusion given its striped hind legs. But why does it have these stripes? Apparently they help camouflage itself and its surroundings, as well as serve as easy identifiers for other okapis to recognize it. The species is so unique and rare that there's an organization dedicated to keeping it alive, and we salute them for doing this work. Number 15, Axolotl. The axolotl is one of the rarest creatures in the world and easily one of the most unique. It is classified as a giant salamander, and when discovered in Mexico, the species was named after one of their gods. To be fair, the axolotl has some godlike abilities, including the ability to regenerate almost any lost limb. Wild axolotls live exclusively in the remaining swampy areas of a lake and the canals leading to the southern edge of Mexico City. However, this hasn't stopped them from ending up in other parts of the world, as they apparently make great pets and are easy to care for. However, due to their aquatic habitat, they are exposed to pollutants that have severely reduced their population. In 1998, the species had about 6,000 individuals per square kilometer, but by 2015, this had dropped to just 35 per square kilometer. This represents a huge decline and is also why they are listed as critically endangered. We hope they do not go extinct, as we could truly lose a unique creature if that happens. Keeping it alive, and we salute them for doing this work. Number 14, Kakapo, the last night guardian of New Zealand. A bird. Straight out of a fairy tale, imagine walking through a quiet, damp forest in New Zealand when suddenly two large, round eyes reflect the moon. You don't hear wings flapping, nor notice rapid movement in the air. What approaches is a terrestrial being, green as moss, chubby and clumsy. Its face resembles an owl, but its body is that of a giant parrot. It stares curiously, unafraid, as if studying you. This is the Kakapo, Strigops habroctilis, the heaviest parrot in the world, the only one that cannot fly, and perhaps the most eccentric creature among modern birds. With its plush-like appearance mixed with ancient wisdom, the Kakapo seems like a character Tolkien would have invented, but it truly exists, and its story is one of the most dramatic in global conservation. Appearance. The parrot that wanted to be an owl. The Kakapo has a different kind of beauty, almost camouflaged, moss green plumage with yellow and black spots, perfect for blending in among ferns, lichens, and forest shrubs. Rounded face with a feathered facial disc, similar to owls, hence the nickname owl parrot. Sensory whiskers, small stiff feathers around the beak, functioning as tactile sensors for moving in the dark. Weight between 2 and 4 kilos, the heaviest parrot in the world. Short but strong legs, allowing it to climb trunks and walk long distances. Short, ineffective wings, not used for flying but aiding balance and small controlled hops. Its gaze conveys gentleness, but also a strange wisdom. Many researchers say that when a Kakapo looks at you, it's as if it remembers another era, carrying in its eyes the memory of untouched New Zealand. Evolution. The price of a predator-free island. New Zealand is an evolutionary laboratory. Isolated from the rest of the world for millions of years, it developed unique animals. Birds that lost the ability to fly, like the kiwi and moa. Reptiles surviving from ancient eras, like the tuatara. Giant insects like the Vaquita. The Kakapo is part of this strange club. In a predator-free environment, it didn't need to fly. Instead, it became heavier, more terrestrial, and more confident. This confidence, however, would be its greatest tragedy. When humans arrived with dogs, cats, and rats, the Kakapo had no instinct to flee. It simply stood still, observing. Cute behavior for us, but deadly in the face of predators. The night call, the forest drum song. During mating season, male Kakapos perform a unique ritual in nature. They dig small dance arenas in the ground, bowl-shaped, known as mating arenas. There, over several nights, they emit a deep, resonant sound, the boom, like a distant drumbeat. This sound can be heard up to 5 kilometers away, echoing like a mystical beat in the forest. After several series of booms, the male alternates with a high, metallic sound called a ching, like a bell. It's his way of saying, "Come to me, I'm here." Females travel kilometers guided only by the sound. It's an ancestral spectacle, worthy of a nature opera. Life cycle and reproduction longevity, up to 90 years, one of the longest lived known birds. Late maturity, reproductive age, only after 5 years, sometimes up to 9. Reproduction linked to fruiting, only reproduces in years when the rimu tree has abundant fruit, 3 to 5 year cycles. Small clutch, 1 to 4 eggs, incubated exclusively by the mother. Vulnerable chicks, depend on the mother for up to 6 months. This combination of slow reproduction and low birth rate explains why the Kakapo came so close to extinction. History of decline, from abundance to near extinction. Before humans arrived, Kakapos were abundant throughout New Zealand, living in forests from north to south. With the Maori, hunted for meat and feathers. Feathers used in ceremonial cloaks, considered sacred. With European settlers, introduction of cats, ferrets, stoats, and rats was devastating. Within a century, the bird had practically disappeared. Around 1970, it was believed the Kakapo was extinct. Rediscovery. The hunt of the century. In 1974, scientists found a small population in Fiordland. In 1977, another larger population was located on Stewart Island. These were historic moments, like encountering a living fossil. The species got a second chance. Conservation, a war of patience. The Kakapo Recovery Program, created in 1989, became one of the most famous conservation initiatives in the world. The last Kakapos were moved to predator-free islands: Codfish Island, Anchor Island, Little Barrier Island. Each bird received a name and is monitored with advanced technology, radio transmitters, chips, and even drones. Teams work 24/7 during breeding seasons, collecting eggs, incubating artificially, caring for chicks, and ensuring each individual has a real chance to survive. From fewer than 50 individuals in the 1990s, the population today exceeds 250 Kakapos. Slow but steady growth, proving the effort is worth it. Personality: the most charismatic parrot in the world. The Kakapo gained global fame for its funny and unusual behavior, extremely gentle, often approaching humans without fear. Some individuals became famous, like Sirocco, who went viral after attempting to mate with a biologist's head in a BBC documentary. Today, Sirocco is considered an official ambassador of New Zealand, with thousands of fans worldwide. It's a bird that mixes tragedy and comedy, nearly extinct but incredibly charismatic. Cultural and symbolic importance for the Maori, the Kakapo was special, tied to forest spirituality. For the modern world, it became a symbol of resilience. Its struggle against extinction represents humanity's fight against biodiversity loss. The Kakapo teaches us that even when all seems lost, it's still possible to rebuild and save. Kakapo, as a lesson for the future, reminds us of island fragility and how isolated species can be devastated by sudden changes. Shows the importance of science paired with compassion. Every egg, every chick matters. A living proof that conservation works, even in critical situations. Conclusion: the call that echoes at night today. When a Kakapo emits its deep boom on a protected New Zealand island, it's not just a call for females, it's a call for humanity. It's as if it's saying, I am still here, I still resist, there is still time to save what remains of nature. The night parrot continues walking among ferns, reminding us that every lost species is a library of millions of years that closes forever, and that some stories, like its, can still have a happy ending. Number 13. Irrawaddy dolphin. Irrawaddy dolphins are freshwater dolphins that can be found in 3 specific areas of Southeast Asia. Although this may sound interesting, it also means that you could go to a river and encounter an unusual visitor in your boat. This is also why these dolphins have a population of fewer than 100 individuals. One of the most popular places they inhabit is the famous Mekong River, which is home to over 1,000 species of animals, so you can imagine why people are trying to save this dolphin, as it is a crucial part of the river's ecosystem. Additionally, the animal is considered sacred by locals, giving them even more reason to protect it. Why are the population numbers so low? Well, due to the animal's size and diversity in the river, they are constantly caught in fishermen's nets. Yes, it can be accidental, but that doesn't prevent them from being killed in large numbers. Fortunately, the World Wildlife Fund and other organizations have joined forces to try to save the dolphin and work with local communities to ensure that such incidents do not continue. Hopefully, they are making good progress. Number 12. Angel shark. You might not have expected to see a shark on this list, but sharks need protection both naturally and artificially. That doesn't mean they are immune to the dangers of extinction, and the angel shark is an example of this. Currently, the angel shark population is mainly found off the coast of Great Britain, where a major conservation effort is underway to reintroduce the animals into the wild. A few years ago, a photographer managed to capture an amazing video of the angel shark swimming, and it's an impressive sight, especially since this creature doesn't look like the typical sharks you might expect to see in oceans and seas. The people of Wales have led the way in saving the angel shark species and even created a law making it illegal to hunt or harm the sharks in any way. These sharks are known to be both flat and small, meaning they don't pose a threat to humans and therefore aren't a danger that needs to be eliminated. Hopefully, people will continue to work together not only to keep them alive, but also to increase their numbers in the future. Number 11. Red panda, the little guardian of the mountains. Introduction: a hidden treasure. The red panda, Alurus fulgens, is a creature that seems to have stepped out of a fairy tale. With its delicate face, expressive eyes, and long striped tail that resembles a brush. Despite its name, it is not closely related to the giant panda. It belongs to its own family, Aluridae, unique in the world. It is a living jewel of Asia's bamboo forests, small and quiet, but incredibly adaptable to its mountainous environment. Its tiny size, between 50 and 64 centimeters in body length, with a tail up to 50 centimeters, makes it extremely agile among the trees, climbing deftly and leaping from branch to branch as if dancing in the air. The red panda weighs on average 3 to 6 kilograms, but its impact on the ecosystem is enormous. Appearance: a symbol of Asian sweetness. The red panda is unmistakable. Reddish-brown fur that blends perfectly with the autumn colors of conifer and bamboo forests. White face with brown markings reminiscent of carnival masks, with large dark eyes that seem to observe tenderly. Long, striped tail used for balance during agile movements in trees and also as an improvised blanket during cold months. Semi-retractable claws adapted for climbing trunks and gripping branches. Small, rounded ears, giving a curious and attentive look. Each red panda seems like a little guardian of the mountains, ready to disappear into the foliage in the blink of an eye. Distribution and habitat: the red panda is a true mountaineer of Asia, found mainly in China, Sichuan, Yunnan, and Tibet provinces, Nepal, Bhutan, India, Sikkim, and Arunachal Pradesh. Myanmar, they prefer temperate and subtropical forests rich in bamboo, which is their primary food source. These regions are steep and cold, often covered in mist and snow, creating an almost mystical habitat for these small animals. The red panda is nocturnal and crepuscular, meaning it is most active at dawn and dusk, spending the day resting on trunks or in tree hollows, perfectly camouflaged in its environment. Diet: more than just bamboo. Although bamboo makes up about 95% of its diet, the red panda is also omnivorous, consuming fruits, leaves, flowers, bird eggs, and even small insects. A fascinating fact: unlike the giant panda, the red panda has teeth and claws adapted for cutting and tearing, making it more efficient at handling varied foods, especially during bamboo scarce months. The red panda also has a false thumb derived from a wrist bone, which helps it hold bamboo stalks with surgical precision. It's a true master of holding and manipulating food, like a little forest chef. Behavior: life in the trees. The red panda is territorial and solitary, except during mating season. It marks its territory with secretions from anal glands and urine and communicates with other pandas through whistles, grunts, and small squeaks. It is an acrobat of the trees, able to descend headfirst or leap from branch to branch effortlessly. During winter, it wraps its tail around its body to conserve heat, showing remarkable self-protective behavior. Additionally, the red panda is extremely cautious, disappearing before predators like snow leopards, martens, and birds of prey can detect it. Reproduction: a cycle of survival. Red panda reproduction is delicate. Mating season occurs between January and March. Gestation: about 134 days. Litter: usually 1 to 4 cubs, born blind and fully dependent on the mother. Cubs stay with the mother for up to a year, learning to climb, forage, and camouflage. Survival rate in the wild is low due to the combined threats of fragmented habitat and natural predators. This slow cycle means population recovery is gradual, requiring ongoing protection. Discovery history: the red panda was first documented in 1825 by French naturalist Frédéric Cuvier, though its existence had been known for centuries by local Asian cultures. Despite its charm and ecological importance, the red panda faced centuries of threats from hunting and habitat destruction until it became a global conservation symbol. Conservation: an ongoing struggle today. The red panda is classified as endangered by the IUCN, with an estimated population of fewer than 10,000 individuals in the wild. The good news is that several conservation efforts have helped save the species. Creation of protected areas in the Himalayan mountains, monitoring programs with GPS collars, bamboo reforestation, education and awareness in local communities, international collaboration between zoos and research centers. Thanks to these initiatives, the red panda has moved away from being nearly extinct and gained hope for survival. Fascinating facts: despite its small size, the red panda has a surprisingly loud roar used to mark territory, can rotate its hind paws up to 180 degrees, allowing headfirst descents. Its long tail functions as a balance tool and blanket, extremely selective about bamboo quality, avoiding tougher stalks or old leaves. Red pandas can live up to 14 years in the wild and 15 to 18 years in captivity. Cultural significance: the red panda is revered in Himalayan cultures, seen as a forest guardian and symbol of kindness and resilience. Additionally, its image has helped raise global awareness for endangered species preservation. It is often confused with the giant panda in cartoons, but its reality is far more complex, adapted to trees, mountains, and nocturnal life. Conclusion: a living symbol of hope. The red panda is not just cute, it is a living warning about human impact and the need to protect fragile ecosystems. Every cub that survives, every restored bamboo tree, every protected area represents a victory for biodiversity and the planet's future. It teaches us that even small creatures can carry monumental importance in the web of life, and that when humanity acts with awareness and effort, species once on the brink of extinction can find hope. The red panda walks silently through the forests, but its message is loud and clear. Protecting nature is urgent, ongoing, and possible. Number 10. Whistling dogs. You might find it strange that a species of dog is near extinction, considering how domesticated they are, but there are many wild dog species in the world that neither want nor need humans. The rare whistling dogs are one of those breeds that need to be kept that way. This dog species was so rare that it took a global pandemic to bring them back into the spotlight. I'm not joking. In 2020, they were spotted in a national park where they had been for decades but had not been seen for half a century. If you think about it, they had been there all along but were never seen because they didn't want to be found. Habitat destruction caused a drastic population decline, but conservation efforts, including the park I mentioned, give hope for the future, especially now that they've been spotted in the wild again. Number 9. Sumatran orangutan. It may seem obvious that habitat destruction is what has caused many animal species to nearly lose their entire populations, but it's true. Animals like these aren't like humans, who can move anywhere. They create a balance in their environment, and when that is threatened, they suffer. The Sumatran orangutan is another example of this. Sumatra's forests have been severely destroyed over the years due to human expansion, and these orangutans have had to survive with increasingly less space to live. However, the good news is that we know they are still around and have even been captured on camera. Additionally, people have been replanting their forests to try to restore some of the life they once had. There are even protectors helping to care for the animals. Number 8. The Great Argus, Master of Feathers and Forest Magic Introduction. A hidden gem of the tropical forests. The great Argus, Argusianus argus, is a pheasant that seems to have stepped out of a fairy tale or an exotic dream. Found mainly in the tropical forests of Borneo, Sumatra, and Malaysia, this bird is famous not only for its beauty, but also for its ritualistic behavior and the extreme rarity of sightings in the wild. Although relatively large for a pheasant, measuring between 160 and 200 cm in wingspan when males display their feathers during courtship, it remains stealthy, silent, and almost ghostly in the depths of the forest. Appearance: a spectacle of feathers and detail. The great Argus has an appearance perfectly designed to impress. Golden brown plumage with intricate eye patterns on the wings, called ocelli, used during courtship to impress females. Incredibly long tail and wing feathers, which can exceed 2 meters when fully extended. Elongated neck and chest, giving elegance and grandeur in movement. Dark, attentive eyes, conveying intelligence and curiosity. Adult males are larger and more ornate than females, displaying pronounced sexual dimorphism typical of birds with elaborate courtship rituals. Each feather is a masterpiece of nature, a combination of perfect camouflage and elaborate display, allowing the great Argus to vanish in the forest while simultaneously shining like a living jewel during courtship. Behavior: the courtship ritual. The great Argus is best known for its mating ritual, considered one of the most elaborate in the animal kingdom. During courtship, the male finds a clearing or erect trunk for his performance. He opens his feathers like a giant fan, revealing hundreds of ocelli that look like magical eyes watching every movement of the female. He begins to dance slowly, alternating graceful steps with precise wing movements. He produces soft sounds and clicks that, combined with the dance, create an almost hypnotic effect. The female watches silently, assessing the male's strength, precision, and beauty. If the female approves, she approaches to mate. This ritual is extremely rare to witness, as the great Argus is highly discreet and selective in its displays. Seeing this dance is considered a unique privilege for any ornithologist or nature enthusiast. Distribution and habitat: the great Argus prefers dense tropical and subtropical forests, avoiding open and human-disturbed areas. Borneo, primary and secondary forests. Sumatra, mountainous areas and deep valleys. Peninsular Malaysia, hidden, humid forests. They rely on untouched forests, abundant food, and safe places to perform courtship, build nests, and avoid predators. Habitat destruction, especially from deforestation and agriculture, is the species' greatest threat. Diet: a secret forest menu. The great Argus is omnivorous and opportunistic, feeding on fallen fruits, seeds, invertebrates, insects, and small arthropods, leaves, and young shoots, especially during fruit shortages. It primarily forages on the forest floor, but its limited flight and camouflage help avoid predators while searching for food. Reproduction and life cycle. The great Argus reproduces slowly and strategically. Mating period usually coincides with the dry season. Nest, built on the ground, hidden among dense foliage. Clutch, typically 2 to 5 eggs, incubated for approximately 27 to 32 days. Chicks, born with cryptic plumage, gradually learning to climb and hide. Juvenile survival, low due to natural predators and initial vulnerability. Long preparation and selective mating ensure only the healthiest and strongest males reproduce, maintaining genetic quality. Rarity and observation. Spotting a great Argus in the wild is almost legendary. Most ornithological expeditions document only 1 or 2 individuals after weeks of intense searching. Some accounts describe researchers who, after days of silent waiting, saw only the shadow of feathers moving among the trees, leaving a feeling of mysticism and reverence. This rarity has made the great Argus a symbol of patience and dedication for scientists and wildlife photographers, who often plan months-long expeditions for a chance to document the species. Conservation, keeping the magic alive. The great Argus is listed as near threatened by the IUCN, with tropical forest destruction as its main threat. Conservation efforts include creating protected areas in Borneo and Sumatra, monitoring via camera traps for behavior and population studies, awareness campaigns with local communities to reduce hunting, sustainable ecotourism programs allowing people to see the great Argus without impacting its habitat. Protecting these forests ensures not only the survival of the great Argus, but also countless other endemic species, keeping biodiversity intact. Fascinating facts. The male can dance for hours, requiring immense energy. Its ocelli can exceed 300 per wing, creating mesmerizing visual effects. Extremely silent except during courtship, making its presence almost ghostly. Despite its size, it can vanish in seconds among trunks and leaves, blending perfectly with the forest. Exhibits nearly magical camouflage behaviors, making it legendary to indigenous communities. Cultural significance. For local people in Borneo and Sumatra, the great Argus is seen as a forest guardian and bearer of magic. Legends say witnessing the male's courtship dance brings good luck, prosperity, or spiritual protection. In many ways, the great Argus is a living symbol of patience, beauty, and the mystery of nature. Conclusion: a living treasure. The great Argus is not just a pheasant, it is a walking work of art, a master of camouflage and ritual dance, and a silent guardian of tropical forests. Every feather, every step of its dance, and every soft call remind us that nature still holds secrets beyond our comprehension, and that life more magnificent than we can imagine often hides among dense trees and ancient shadows. Protecting the great Argus is, therefore, protecting a piece of wildlife magic, ensuring future generations may witness the most extraordinary dance in the animal kingdom. Number 7. Pygmy, three-toed sloths are really slow. All sloths have a laid-back nature and have lived that way for a long time. However, this can harm them in the long run, as is the case with the pygmy three-toed sloth. It is not only a rare sloth, but also critically endangered. Continuous habitat destruction and fragmentation, exploitation for food, the presence of wild cats, and lack of proper legal protection for pygmy sloths and their habitats have caused a sharp population decline. Therefore, unlike many other animals on this list, the struggle to keep them alive has not been very productive. There have even been people in places like the United States trying to buy and sell these animals despite their low population numbers, just because they wanted to display them. In the end, that's greed. Number 6. Yangtze giant softshell turtle. Here's another critically endangered species for you to learn about. Tragically, this is a creature whose population is so low that no one can honestly say whether it will survive. I'm talking about the Yangtze giant softshell turtle, and according to official records, the last count showed only 4 of these turtles remaining in the entire world. That's nothing. The good news is that if breeding occurs, a single giant softshell turtle can produce up to 100 eggs. But the problem is that the female has tried to mate with other males, with certain conservation efforts and care, and nothing has happened. Could this change in the future? Absolutely, but the fact that the number is still 4 is quite bad, and if this female dies leaving only the males, unless a miracle happens, the species will be extinct. Number 5. Golden lion tamarin. Given the somewhat tragic nature of this story, how about something a bit more uplifting? Now let's talk about the golden lion tamarin, a special species of monkey for which we have a positive update from the last 6 months. This monkey, whose population had dropped to only about 200 individuals in the early 1970s, even faced challenges from a yellow fever outbreak. However, as of 2023, their population has surged to around 4,800. To be clear, this doesn't mean they are out of danger yet, as they are still classified as endangered. But when you see a population increase like this, there's reason to celebrate, and the team responsible for preserving and helping these animals did exactly that when the population survey numbers were released. Number 4, long-beaked echidna. Now it's time to talk about the long-beaked echidna, an important animal for one simple reason. People thought it was already extinct. Equally significant, it was recently found in November 2023 at a time when people believed it had been extinct for a long time. Someone managed to photograph one during an expedition to Indonesia led by researchers from the University of Oxford. 4 clips, each 3 seconds long, were recorded of the long-beaked echidna. These creatures are so rare and ancient in their lineage that they are known as living fossils, giving hope to researchers that other creatures thought extinct may still be out there, waiting to be rediscovered. Number 3, the handfish. As I've shown, there are countless ways an animal can become threatened, but in the case of the handfish, it became endangered in part because of the way it lives. What do I mean by that? Well, it only lives on sandy bottoms of aquatic areas and only at a specific depth. So when these places began to be affected by human expansion, pollution, and predator overload, it had very little room to move. Additionally, it is only found in one location in Australia, which means if something happens to that single population, it could affect the entire species. And that is exactly what happened, making it critically endangered. Number 2, Fossa. It's even ironic that I haven't mentioned Madagascar, given how much life there is in this country and how constantly threatened that life is. But in this case, I'm talking about its main predator, the fossa. What's a fossa, you might ask? They are relatives of the mongoose and are creatures that love hunting Madagascar's main stars, the lemurs. So yes, they would probably take out King Julian if you asked. But could you really ask? Well, that's the problem. Despite being the island's top predator, they are hard to find. Scientists honestly don't know much about them, and therefore their population numbers are unknown, and that's bad because they need to be tracked and recorded so we can estimate how they are doing, or you know, how badly off they might be. Number 1, birds of paradise. I'm closing with a generalization because there's an entire family of birds known as birds of paradise. Specifically, there's a group of birds that can be found in places like eastern Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and eastern Australia. There are 45 species in this group or family, and many of them are threatened in terms of population status. The threat to these birds is uniform, which is why we're grouping them all together. First, they were hunted for their beautiful feathers, which were used in clothing around the world. Second, their habitats were destroyed by deforestation, which further harmed their population numbers. And the fact that this is happening in multiple countries is even more concerning, as it could affect and wipe out multiple bird species in a single blow. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed our content, subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Also, check out other interesting content appearing on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video. Until next time.